Sometimes everything in life dovetails together neatly and sometimes it does not. The worst case scenario is when life teases you with the first option and delivers the second when you are not ready for it. When I proposed to Catherine, she instantly accepted and things began to progress fast. We started house hunting and found a place that neither of us could resist. It was larger than we expected for our budget, or rather just beyond our budget, but the previous owners had divorced before moving in and were keen to sell up and split the proceeds between them, so the place was definitely available for below the market norm. Personally, I remained worried that we were going beyond our spending power, but Catherine put on her pleading face and said, "Oh, come on, Pete," which is something against which I have had a 0% resistance record. It was habitable, but the living room and second bedroom were bare and needed decorating. The latter needed some plastering repairs as well, but I could turn my hand to that. Catherine hated the decor in the hallway, so that was slotted in at the bottom of the redecoration list. The consolation was that all these jobs added to the value of the house more than the cost of materials. I have my own small graphic design business which then had 2 employees. We did other things, such as website design and a bit of marketing support when needed, and things were going quite well. Then my more experienced employee left to go freelance, and some customers took their business to him. I could have been offended, but that was exactly how I had started up my own business, so I wished him good luck to avoid being a total hypocrite. This gave me a good budgetary idea. The leased office could be given up as the business could now be moved into the big, airy extension on the new house. The electrics would need to be beefed up, but that was something else I could do for myself. The cost of renting the office and all the peripheral costs were saved, and if a meeting room was needed, one could be hired or we could meet on the customer's premise. My remaining employee, Susanna, was a quiet girl, but she was very dependable. When I gave her a design to complete, I could rely on Susanna to get it right quickly. When she first joined, she failed to put forward any design ideas of her own, nor any suggestions for fine-tuning things. Did she not have any? Or if she did, were they good ones or bad ones? At this point in time, Susanna was just starting to make design suggestions and was not afraid of putting up an idea that may not eventually used. Not being number 3 in seniority, out of 3, seemed to boast her confidence nicely. Most importantly, she would not mind being evicted from a town center office into the extension of the new house as a career-developing move. At this stage, the wedding plans were well under control, a new house had been acquired, a convenient business circumstance had alleviated the slight overspend on the house. As any groom knows, the major remaining item yet to discuss was to ensure that the future mother-in-law was on side with her daughter's choice of husband. This was trickier with Catherine being an only child and getting a bit of the possessive parenting that often comes with that territory, but I managed to get that working as well, and there was definitely no negative vibe coming from her mother, Angela. With everything seemingly in good shape, this was where my golden touch failed me, and I was left with a long list of things that I should have done but did not. The wedding itself went off without a hitch, and Angela did not seem to interfere at all, although maybe Catherine did a good job of ensuring that her parents only got involved with things that they needed to handle. I should have replied to Angela when she complained that I was not helping Catherine with the household chores, that I was doing a full-time job, and a bit more, plus all the decorating. But I did not. Catherine was always her mummy's princess, so not having in her skill set things such as painting and wallpaper hanging were not her fault. I should have pointed out to Angela when she said that Catherine was terribly busy at work and needed the help that her husband owned the company, and that Catherine's role there was one for which she never seemed to be able to quantify in words what she was actually doing. But I did not. I should have told Angela that it was unfair that they had been dishonest with me when it turned out that Catherine had not sold her flat, because she did not actually own it. All she had done was merely move out of one owned by her father's company, and that her contribution to the house deposit had been a gift from her parents. But I did not. I should have informed Angela that the pet names that Catherine and I had for each other were none of her business when she asked me not to call her daughter Katya, with emphasis on the second syllable because, according to Angela, it made her sound like a Russian prostitute. Actually, I did do that one, but then spoiled it by saying that I bowed to her superior knowledge of naming trends amongst East European sex workers, which left me in a worse standing in Angela's eyes than when before she raised it. I should have noticed Angela's minimal sense of humor before that day. But I did not. I should have told Angela that between Susanna and myself we could cope with the admin when business began to pick up again, and that we did not need her help around the mini office. But I did not. I should have told Angela, thanks, but no thanks, on the day when I ran out of clean underwear, had those pesky underpants gnomes stolen the lot, and she just happened to have a spare pair to hand that I could borrow. They were plain white cotton with a very pale pink lace band on the waist, and I thought that as nobody would notice, I did not protest. I should have just denied it to Angela and told her to stop making something of nothing when she had an incomprehensible rant at me for saying something sexist to Catherine, which I am certain was untrue anyway. But I did not. I should have refused Angela when this previous situation led to her making me wear a pink bra and knickers, violet-colored blouse, black skirt and barely black tights, but I did not. And I cannot really explain how she made me do it, armed just with a never-ending stream of verbal put-downs. I should have physically denied her when Angela grabbed my ear and dragged me into the office to sit there in that attire in front of Susanna, who was just as embarrassed as I was. But I did not. We just sat there working away in the most awkward of silences. I should have ignored Angela every time that she referred to me as Patra, emphasizing the second syllable of course. This was another one that I tried to do, but then Angela kept using the name Patrick, telling me that she would do this, that or the other around the office and house, all things that she knew that I would not want done, so I had to respond to prevent those things being done. I should not have just sit still on the following day when Angela insisted on adding makeup after she had told me to wear the same bra and knickers but with black opaque tights and a short-sleeved bright blue knee-length dress, with ballerina flats for my feet, shoes that had never been sighted in the house before. But I did not, and I just walked into the office of my own accord. I should have complained to Angela after my hair had been teased into as near a feminine style as possible by Susanna, as she expertly utilized a couple of spare hair clips and a barrette. I did protest to Susanna, but she told me that it was Angela's instructions, so I let her finish before dealing with Angela, just to ensure that Susanna did not get into trouble. Of course, I never did not get round to challenging Angela on the subject. Susanna told me that she had a sister with a similar length hair to mine, mid-length by male standards, and she was used to helping her get a nice girlish look. I should have discussed it with Angela before telling Susanna not to take direct orders from Angela. But I did not. In all likelihood, I would have received a spanking anyway, but possibly not in the office with Susanna watching. Again, Susanna looked as ashamed of what was happening as me. I should have just got changed before Catherine arrived home from work and saw me. But I did not. Angela had left an hour or so earlier, but for some reason I was worried that Susanna might be on her side and tell her if I got changed into male clothes without permission. I should have got Catherine to let me put my side of the story instead of just letting her yell at me. But I did not. And when she had finished, the atmosphere was too frosty for me to start making excuses, especially given that for all the reasons above, they were not really very good excuses. I should have refused when Catherine bought me a satin nightdress to wear to bed. But I did not. Her anger had cooled by then and she put on that face and said, "Oh come on, Patra." Secretly I was glad that I did, because it did felt very nice to wear. I should have pointed out that there were other options available, such as wearing my own clothes, when I tried to refuse to wear a skirt and blouse that she had also bought for me for work and Catherine told me that it was the skirt and blouse or school uniform. Her school uniform, naturally. So it was the skirt and blouse. I should have declined to participate when Angela suggested that I shave my legs and minimize other body hair, but her assurance that wearing hosiery would feel better seemed to be a convincing case, so I did not decline. She was correct and it made the satin nightdress feel even nicer. There is one last thing on my to-do list, which is to extricate myself from the big hole that I have dug for myself, but I am a bit short of ideas on how to do that at the moment. And I don't necessarily want to give up everything that passed my way recently.